All right, as promised, part 2, part B, whatever you want to fucking call this, of episode 37 of White Heat. And we're going to start off by letting you know that, hey, it's a new year with new goals, so you want to start your new year right behind the wheel of a newer pre-owned vehicle that fits your budget, your New Year's resolutions, and your family's plans. So you got to stop in the Mohawk Honda in the Scotia Glenville area of upstate New York and check out their broad selection of pre-owned inventory as well as new vehicles on the lot. Everyone there at Mohawk Honda, they are there to find the right make, model, and price point to fit your budget because their goal is to help you meet your goals, whether it be with Luis, the VIP man Morales, Jake Hot Sauce Doyle, Kurtz from Boda, Mark from Clifton Park Ellis. They can all hook you up with the perfect deal. Plus, it's still the perfect time to get there and get top dollar for your trade-in with the continuation of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash offer. Yeah, that's right. That instant cash offer we mentioned throughout the fall, it's still going on right now in the early months of 2022. Same day, you get a check in your hand when you trade in your vehicle, or you can just take that money they're going to give you and put it right towards your new vehicle or your certified pre-owned vehicle, and that's less money out of your pocket for an updated, newer vehicle for you and your family. You can talk to any of the guys and gals there. Brian McKenna, Mike Benice, Nicole Ozier, or the dude who just hooked up our man Gaz with a new vehicle, Cam McKenna. Let's do a deal with McKenna. That's right. Any of their sales or leasing consultants will help make your New Year's automotive goals their top priority. So start the new year right with the right deal at Mohawk Honda in Scotia Glenville, where they always go out of their way to please you. That being said, welcome back to part B, part 2, part whatever you want to fucking call this, of episode 37 of White Heat. I'm Brian Cady. That's JJ Alexander. Presented by Godzilla Media. Our humble boss, Mr. Gaz, did a pop-up appearance in part 1. If you missed that, go check it out on the YouTubes or
the great Gazoo.
Wherever you listen, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it may be, Google Play. That being said, we got to dive deep because we did a deep dive into the Cody and Brandy Rhodes situation. We dove into AEW. We closed off part 1 talking about Matt Cardona and the NWA. And now we just got to get into the big boys. We got to get into the WWE, a bunch of stuff involving them. So let's start off with NXT because tonight they have their
Vengeance Day,
the Valentine's Day based themed show on Sci-Fi. So let's just get into the NXT stuff that we have to talk about. First off, let's just, because pretty much this whole show was helping set up the Vengeance Day show for tonight. So for starters, we have the 2 Dusty Cup semifinal matches. The one towards the end of the night was pretty self-explanatory. MSK advancing over the new Young Guns that were debuting in the Cup, which was
Anofi and Malik Blade.
Anofi and Blade, thank you. That was pretty much expected. The other end of it was the team we hoped would get an opportunity versus the team we expected to get the opportunity, which was the Creeds versus GYV. In the end, the Creeds go over on GYV. And that's the one semifinal I feel like is worth discussing for a multitude of reasons. I can see the disgust on your face. So you want to take the reins on this to start off here, Mr. Alexander?
I mean, I talked about it last week, and I talked fucking how they're going to drop the ball on this shit. And you just had the team that literally made it to the finals of the fucking Dusty Cup 2 years in a row and just narrowly got beaten for it. 2 guys who, for all intents and purposes, should be on Raw or SmackDown right now.
Correct.
They did their time in NXT UK. They were tag champions there. They came over to NXT. They did the stuff in the Dusty Cup. They were perennial contenders for the tag titles here. And then when the fucking new regime came in, they were like, let's turn these guys into a fucking joke and do fucking vignettes where they're fucking grifters for some reason, because being the grizzled young veterans wasn't enough of a gimmick, even though it fucking works, and take two guys who could already cut promos and make them do dumb, stupid, fucking cartoonish shit. And then let's have them job out to the green fucks.
Yeah, I mean, I would, to dive deeper into the match itself.
Kicked out of a Doomsday device.
Right, which you had mentioned in part 1 because that was something that happened also in the FTR Punk and Mox tag match on Dynamite and AEW last week.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be. Let me put it this way. Let's not give too much credit to the team that keeps winning, and give credit to the teams that are helping,
trying to make them look good.
Right. Just because the Creeds, in my mind, had their best match yet, that doesn't mean they're getting that much better already.
Mm-hmm.
That just goes to show the work that GYV put into it.
Right. Like these kids, like they are not ready for fucking national television. They're like, I have to keep repeating myself every week. They're too fucking fast. They don't know how to slow down. They don't know how to get out of their own way. They don't know how to pull fucking punches. Like they're too fucking stiff in there. And like, it's like if this was proper developmental, these kids would have some time to fucking work at shit and actually fucking get better. But instead, they just got thrown the fuck out there on TV, and they're in a fucking they're in a fucking building where there's too many people in the crowd that are fucking friends and family, as I have said week after week after week after week, who are sitting there cheering for them, even though they're supposed to be fucking heels. And they just come across as like they don't look like they belong. Like they're like, okay, yeah, like they're tall and kind of like husky in stature, but they don't have much muscle tone. They're pale as fuck. They look like the two biggest kids on a fucking high school fucking wrestling team in their fucking high school singles that just got thrown out there and are supposed to be the biggest badasses on the fucking planet. And that's not how this works.
Yeah, and here's the thing, to put it together for Vengeance Day, because now obviously it's MSK and the Creed brothers for the Dusty Cup tonight on Vengeance Day. Can we just call a spade a spade? This is pretty much going to be at least in my mind, this is MSK's send-off. I think MSK is going to the main roster pretty soon.
They should be. If they do the job tonight, they better be on the fucking main roster day after Mania. If they go over tonight, I honestly they should go over. They should win the fucking Dusty Cup because these other fuckers are too fucking green to fucking get elevated into a fucking title match. And they've already shown they can't hang with Imperium. Like, at least put MSK in there with Imperium and have MSK do the job to Imperium and then send them up to the main roster. There is no reason for the Creed brothers to go anywhere past where they already are.
And essentially what this is this. Now, the question becomes, and this will obviously be a theme throughout the course of us getting through this portion of our show with NXT, does what happens tonight at Vengeance Day build towards the takeover that's happening in Dallas WrestleMania week, or is it going to build towards short-term stories that'll end on TV? Like, there's at least one match clearly on the Vengeance Day card that's to end a current angle, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But like the Dusty Cup, the NXT title match, the North American title match,
mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see if this develops into stories that'll be able to last 6 to 8 weeks to get to Mania week,
mm-hmm.
or if it's only going to provide short-term storylines, and then they're going to have to find something to lead to something else for Mania week.
Right.
I think in this particular case, it depends who they go with. Right. If they go with the Creed brothers, I don't think you have enough character within the Creed brothers. Now, granted, Malcolm Bivens can talk on the mic. That's great.
Yeah.
He's their mouthpiece. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do anything convincing enough to stretch that out for 6 weeks to Mania week.
Especially in a heel versus heel program.
Right. So to me, you're setting that up for the title match to be cashed in on free TV, and then they face somebody else. Whoever wins that tag title match faces somebody else at TakeOver.
Right.
But if you go the other way, potentially, just because of the caliber of talent you're dealing with, you could potentially get to MSK and Imperium being the TakeOver tag title match.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to have to find some way to filler and fluff for 4 to 6 weeks, which you can do, particularly if you go back to the well with Riddle and maybe do something with Riddle and Walter.
But they already did that.
Well, I'm saying solo, not 6-man.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe bring Riddle back and have Riddle and Walter get into it in the interim.
Right.
Like, and then
but that all depends on what they do with Riddle this weekend.
Right. And then obviously you can always do stuff with, pitting, let's just, for example, say Eichner and Wes, and then Nash and Bartel in singles matches. So there's stuff that can be done there that there's more to work with if you go with the MSK route than if you go with the Creed Brothers route. That's what I'm getting to.
And even say you do and here's where it's going to really show that these kids aren't ready. If they do go with the Creed Brothers route, are they going to do singles matches of fucking Julius against fucking Fabian and the other one versus fucking Marcelo? Because that's really going to expose these kids as to how they're not ready.
Yeah.
Because you put them in singles match up, they're going to stink up that fucking joint.
Yeah, that's rough. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's a hard. That would be. I don't care how homerific the crowd is at these shows right now. That would even be a hard sell, I think, for them. To be quite honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can we just talk about how the Dusty Cup just fucking flew this year? Usually they either start it later or they work at it where, number one, there's usually more teams in it. And the Dusty Cup starts and the build is to the Dusty Cup is usually, the finals are usually taking place around the takeover by Mania, if not on the takeover at Mania.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because usually they have qualifying matches, and this year I don't think
they had one qualifier.
Yeah, and that was for Nofe and Blade.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
they were short. They were short on tag teams. They didn't want to bring in any outside tag teams or whatever. They didn't want to put any together makeshift tag teams, so they just took what they had and did it like it was plug and play. And they decided to sacrifice talent for just bullshit because it's obvious. It's the hindsight not being there. It's so I want to talk about just briefly about the NXT crowd. How they, back when they were at Full Sail, there was the whole thing of how someone would be over as fucking gangbusters there, but it didn't translate to a bigger crowd. When they first started bringing guys up to do spot stuff on the main roster, when they brought up Neville and Sami Zayn and a couple other guys to do a tag match on Raw, and how it really didn't transfer over as far as crowd reaction, because number one, the crowd didn't really know who they were because NXT was it had less viewership back then because it was just on Hulu Plus. But also it just shows that some things don't translate into broader audiences, and that's something that a lot of indie guys need to realize who aren't traveled a lot. Is they'd be like, oh, I'm so fucking over in Rhode Island. I work these 4 fucking indies in Providence and everyone fucking loves me, but they never travel outside that and go to even New York or to Maryland or to PA. You have to find out if your shit works in front of other crowds. And that's the problem with the NXT. That's always been the problem with the NXT crowd, whether it's been at Full Sail or now at the PC. The difference is the Full Sail crowd were wrestling fans, and they were because I know I had friends of friends who would go, and because the tickets were only $10 and you could buy You could buy tickets for like 6 months out, and people would do it because they loved going there. Now it's a friends and family crowd, and they opened it up to normal people, but normal people aren't buying the tickets, which is why they're filling like that entire section with students in Chase U sweaters and shit like that, because they haven't done enough to advertise to the public that you can come watch these TV shows. And that's something that's if you go on Peacock and you watch the special on Florida Championship Wrestling, and they talk about the guys in the locker room on Tuesday was flyer day, and they had to go out and flyer the local things for the the flea markets and the malls and all that shit to get people to come to the house shows. That's something that these kids aren't doing. They're not paying dues. How many times have I gone off about people paying dues on this fucking show?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not doing that. And so there's not new eyes seeing them. And the people at home, they're tuning out because they don't know what to make, hide nor tail of this. Meanwhile, you've got people who are there, and I'm sure Michaels is just as guilty of it as Pritchard is and all them, but they're like, oh, well, this crowd's going nuts for him, so we're going to keep pushing him. No. They're going nuts for him because they're fucking related to them.
Right.
That's not the case. Stop fucking pushing, because then you get shit like you have a team who naturally started getting over after being thrown together with Briggs and Jensen, who are two guys that didn't know each other at all before stepping foot in the PC. You've got one guy who really had no indie experience, but he was the son of a WWE guy. And you've got another guy who made a name for himself on the fucking indies along the East Coast. And you put them together and you've got something special there. And nope, we're going to job them out in the first round so we can do these stupid backstage vignettes with one of them having a crush on one of the girls' tag teams.
Yeah, basically.
That does nothing for, and that's a team of two guys. They're two freaking hosses that can both, like, I'm not sure if Jensen could hold his own alone, but Briggs definitely helps cover up those negatives. And they're just not getting a chance because they want to push these green fucking kids. They're like, oh, well, they got a manager, so they got someone who can talk for them. So we don't need to put them in backstage vignettes, but we need to get these other guys over to see if they can talk. That's not how this works. I mean, I fucking love Stokely Hathaway. I think he's fucking great. I'm glad he's getting fucking paid. Are you going to bring him up to the main roster to be a manager? In this day and age, in the year of our Lord 2022, is there going to be a manager on WWE TV that isn't also an in-ring competitor?
That's a good question.
Need I remind you what happened to the Authors of Pain when they got brought to the main roster?
Yeah, they stripped away Paul Ellering
and then stuck Drake Maverick with them, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the Authors of Pain were fucking talented.
Mm-hmm.
These kids are not.
Whatever happened with AOP, by the way? I know they got cut, but like...
They announced a reunion tour of sorts a few months back, but then nothing transpired. I think it was just like, they were working on getting bookings after shit started opening up from COVID again, but then because, variants in states and everything, I think they just kind of put it on the shelf.
Interesting.
But as far as I know, they were still in contact with each other and looking to do like indie booking dates. But it's also kind of hard because both guys, English is their second language. And even though they look like brothers, one speaks Albanian and the other speaks Portuguese, it's kind of hard to find people to work with.
No, you're right. You're right. All right. So next up, we have Dunn beating up on the ex-Marine this dude is, Draco Anthony, whatever.
Yeah,
Marine.
So this is a tangent that I kind of started on last week and I didn't finish. Mm-hmm. The whole thing with them pushing certain people over a quarter, and now it's the new quarter, so now we're going to push these other people, even though the first quarter people aren't over at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Draco Anthony's part of this new quarter, where it's like, oh, he's an ex-Marine, and how he's there. Okay, number one, don't shoot a vignette saying that he's the first one there every time at 3 a.m. when the PC's open, when you already had Braun Breaker use that line in a promo a week before that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, who's really there first? Like, you're not proofreading your own shit. But here's another. It's Craig the Pitbull Pittman. That's what you got in this kid. Like, he's in better shape, but that's all you're giving the kid is, oh, he was a Marine. Put him out there in camo pants. Like, this is not 1992. Stop it.
Could be worse.
That is low level indie-rific shit. I can't think of a gimmick. You were in the armed forces, wear camo pants. That is such low-hanging fruit that it is underground. That's a turnip.
Could be worse. They could call him GI Bro.
But and the thing was, when Booker did GI Bro, that was the early fucking 90s.
I know.
And that's what I'm saying. This isn't 1992. And even by 92, Booker was on to doing Harlem Heat. But yeah, it's Craig the Pitbull Pittman. Like, the kid's great. Kid's got a great physique. But we don't know if he can work or not because he doesn't have any wrestling experience. So we're just going to throw him out there and but unlike the people in the first quarter where they just put him out there and started giving them wins, they're going to give these people losses. So that's how it'll be different. So then no one gives a fuck about them.
I think we have special guests.
You watch your potty mouth, okay? Dan Housen said no swearing.
Fuck, fuckity, fuck.
Wow.
Fuckhausen.
I curse you.
Fuckhausen.
Curse you.
Levac wanted to crash down too. I'm sorry, guys. Double episodes, double crashing. It's like Laparco with the chair.
I need to know why it's called white heat. What about beige heat?
Oh, we're going to go down that road now?
You guys should lock the studio door. That's all I'm saying. I could help.
Kazoo has been joined by Mr. Mixie Spitlick, apparently.
The fact that you could say that while not spitting all over the place, that's talent. That's, you know what? For there, all great things.
Can we call this the white heat forbidden door that just randomly it's going to open once in a while? All right, goodbye, guys.
All right. Everybody knows Doink the Clown, underrated. Danhausen, best thing going.
I watched Doink the Clown pop pills outside while I was having a cigarette one day, okay? Literally just in his fucking mouth.
All right.
And neither were ever welcome back at that kindergarten. You guys have a great show.
What the fuck, dude?
All right. So, Gaz popped in again, this time with Levac. Levac and Gaz are doing their thing. Holy Jesus. What a day. Oh, man.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we need... wow. Maybe I do need to lock that door. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes, it's a good
Oh, man.
So, yeah, Craig the Pitbull Pittman.
So, what I was trying to lead to with that conversation, so Dunn beats him. Yeah. Then D'Angelo tries to attack him, and now all of a sudden we're going from a steel cage to a weaponized steel cage.
Clockwork Orange House of Fun.
Oh, man. Why? Why we wait? Why? Why?
Because reasons.
It's not even a title match.
This is the real blow off to the feud. Well, this shows that you can have weird fucking stipulations on matches that aren't for titles. That's what they're doing. Because this is a grudge.
I got nothing. Is that you making fun of me right now?
No, that's the grudge.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a minute. Oh, God almighty. brain damage. All right.
No, that's AEW.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about me right now. It's one of those days.
Yes.
What else? Oh, and then we have fucking LA Knight taking on Best Value AOP tag title member. I mean, Sanga.
Who left Braun in the toaster?
Who left Sanga in the AOP dressing room to rob half their gear? Did you see the shit he was wearing?
He looked like someone left Braun in the tanning bed too long. That's what he looks like. I was sitting there making comments. I was like, "Oh look, it's Curry Wardlow. Oh look, who left Braun in the tanning bed?"
Just, oh God. So LA Knight goes over like we expected. So that sets up LA Knight versus Grayson Waller, supposedly. Except no, we're getting Waller's threatening to have LA Knight arrested because reasons. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. The whole purpose was to set it up so that if he got through Sanga, he got a match with Waller, but then...
Well, they never said that. Not to mention, I'm just going to go over the... So, this was one of the one things where there was a stupid thing they did in WCW, but at least they covered it right away. Remember when fucking Eric Bischoff had the fucking restraining order? And I don't even remember who it was. But I just remember Eric Bischoff had a 50-foot restraining order. And then, like, during an episode of Nitro, he just walked right out down the fucking entranceway and stopped right near the wing and went, 50 feet! And then he called the cops out to fucking arrest him for violating the restraining order. And they went, no, you violated the restraining order. And they took him away because that's how restraining orders work. But we've had Grayson Waller attack LA Knight from behind all these times while he has a restraining order on him. Apparently, Bruce Pritchard has not looked into how restraining orders work. They're a two-way street. So my guess is they do something stupid tonight where Grayson Waller brings out the cops and goes, I want him arrested for violating the restraining order. And then they go, you violated it too. You're arrested.
Possibly.
Otherwise, whatever else they do, just completely stupid. Because this kid is not ready for jack shit.
I wonder where they're going to put that throwaway segment. Although I don't even know if they have room for that. Because they have 6 fucking matches booked for tonight. I don't know. I don't fucking know. We'll get to...
But it's a special event, so therefore it's literally just going to be the 6 matches, and we're not going to get a whole bunch of the backstage gaga that we get on the regular episodes of NXT.
Although, I'll tell you, if we do have any backstage gaga, I do know one thing, and it's something you mentioned earlier.
The dating shit.
Yes, because remember, Briggs and Jensen are going out with Kaden and Casey tonight.
That'll be the cutaways that they use in between matches.
Anyways, what else? Oh, Championship Summit. So
what did I say last week?
We have Escobar, we have Braun. Dolph comes out and says what he says. Ciampa comes out and calls Dolph Kid, which is funny because I think they're around the same age. That's interesting.
I think Tommaso's actually a year older than Dolph.
Ooh, 12 months. He's a kid.
Still, though, it's the funny thing, though.
Then,
fancy name for a contract signing where someone goes through a table.
Right. Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what did happen in that segment. Dolph proved that Braun Breaker doesn't belong on TV yet. Correct. He embarrassed that fucking kid on the mic.
Correct.
Embarrassed. The only thing that saved that was Ciampa coming out.
Correct.
And I don't know, maybe because Tommaso showed up in Indianapolis on commentary. I do not think that Tommaso is going to the main roster full time. What I do think, this is my Hail Mary prediction of the WrestleMania season. I think they're going to build to Tommaso versus Dolph at Mania just to give Tommaso a Mania payday and then let him go be a coach.
Why would they do that? They're already giving that match away on free TV tonight.
No, they're not. They said they'll both be there. They didn't say they were having the match.
I'll double check.
They said they'd be there face to face. They didn't say they're having a match.
All right. Well, keep going. Keep going.
But I honestly, I think, because obviously, like Tommaso said, he's next in line against Braun for the NXT title. I feel like that's either going to become a three-way. That'll be a three-way where they do bring Dolph down, or they have the match where Tommaso looks like he's going to win, and then Dolph interferes, and fucking the match gets thrown out into schmaz, leading to Tommaso versus Dolph at Mania. Because I don't see them taking that belt off of Breaker because they want to keep him fucking on top of the fucking mountain, even though he's not ready. And I don't see them having Dolph do a one-on-one job to Breaker. I do see a three-way. I do see a one-on-one where Dolph interferes.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have 5 matches. So you might be able to squeeze in that Waller Knight promo then.
Yeah.
Oh. Then we have what else? Saraya gets her revenge from Dakota Kai by beating her, whatever.
Yay.
We
had the Wendy Chu credit card match.
Right. Whatever. Great.
Which I thought it was funny. Like, she comes up, she's like, it was great until they canceled the credit card. Yeah. How the fuck did you get to anywhere? Like, you just admitted to performing identity theft on camera. Like, does no one think of what they're writing before they pull this through?
I hope that was a rhetorical question.
It was, because
okay,
I know
good.
that they don't.
Okay.
Nothing makes sense, and they think it's still 1992.
Right. We went over MSK making it to the finals. Show closed with Mandy Rose retaining over Kaylee Ray. Then the rest of Toxic Attraction comes out to jump Kaylee Ray. Io Shirai comes out to help clear the ring. And it seems like Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray are going to be Dusty Cup partners.
Yeah.
That'd be my assumption. So the Vengeance Day card, like we've already alluded to, Dunn and D'Angelo in a weaponized steel cage match. Braun versus Santos for the NXT title. The Dusty Cup finals, MSK against the Creed brothers. And then the 2 matches we didn't bring up, Mello and Grimes for the North American title. Mm-hmm. And then Toxic Attraction defending their tag title, the women's tag titles against Indy and Persia.
Unfortunately, I don't see Indy and Persia going over now that they kind of did the whole Io and Kaylee Ray are tagging in the women's Dusty Cup. I feel like that's going to be the build that they do towards fucking
Mania week,
the Great Value Goths for the fucking tag titles, because they have a habit lately of not getting out of their own way and showing their hand way before they get to the fucking final to get to the finish line.
And then here's the interesting thing too to bring up. What the hell is her name? Oh, okay. Zoe Stark fitting into all this. Well, Zoe Stark, the way they pieced together was Zoe Stark basically encouraging Io Shirai to get into the tournament, even though she isn't physically, she hasn't been cleared for competition yet.
Right.
So that's why the whole Io Kaylee Ray thing.
Yep.
So now, let's say, foreshadowing the storytelling here, let's say Io Kaylee Ray, they're successful in the Dusty Cup tournament, win the Dusty Cup. Now, where does Zoe Stark fit in? Do you make Zoe turn heel? Do you make Io and Kaylee Ray turn heel on Zoe after the Dusty Cup? Like, there's a multitude of potential ways they can go about that after the fact that doesn't even involve the tag titles yet. So
Right.
That'll be interesting storytelling. Well, interesting from an NXT perspective, at least.
Yeah.
For what they do there.
Yeah. As far as Grimes and Mello goes, I have two
Steal
schools
the
of thought
show?
on it. Well, yeah, it's going to steal the show. I have two schools of thought on it. Either
I think Santos might be able to pull a good match out of Braun, though. Might. I said might.
I don't know. That's a tall order.
It's Santos.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways, go ahead.
I think either Grimes wins the North American title and then they start grooming Mello to go against Braun for Mania break. Like it should be, because then Mello could be like, you know something, I'm still the A champion and now I'm going to prove it.
Okay.
Because Mello's a guy you can build a brand around. I don't care what anyone says. If Grimes does not defeat Mello for the North American title, he better be showing up on Raw the day after Mania. He better be, because there's no reason for him to still be in NXT at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's another one, like he came in from fucking Impact and all he needed was a little bit of seasoning to be ready for fucking main TV. And he's another one that's been there since Full Sail. It is time. Shit or get off the pot.
Agreed.
He was in the first Top Prospect
No, I know. I agree.
tournament, for Christ's sakes. And he should have won it, but they were stupid and went with fucking ACH.
So here's my question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know? I'm gonna try to look this up. Cameron Grimes' contract situation. I don't remember if he re-signed recently or not.
I don't know if it was recent, but I'm pretty sure he's like in the thick of it. I don't think it's up anytime soon.
So the only reason I even bring that up, and it's just a lot of hypothetical conjecture I'm going to bring up here,
Mm-hmm.
is because he's from the same area roughly as the Hardys.
Yeah, he was trained by them.
Right. I don't know. I'm hope if there's no contract issues coming up potentially with him, then I'm all for whatever direction you're bringing up here.
Yeah.
So I'm only mentioning that because if his contract is due to come up very soon, you know who might come knocking. That's all.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were the reason he got into TNA in the first place.
Yeah, because that was around the time when Jeff was still there, I think.
I think Matt and Jeff were both still there. I think that was during the whole final deletion bit.
Yeah. That's right. All right. So let's move on now to SmackDown, which, gotta be honest, there was a whole fucking lot of nothing really.
Because they taped two shows on the same night, so they left everything for the show that's airing this Friday.
Right. Am I the one that's already sick of Los Lotharios?
Oh, I've been sick of them. I was sick of them when they were singles guys.
Umberto was bearable as a singles guy. Bearable. Now them together with what they're doing, I don't know. It's just
they're there to fill the demographic.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I don't know.
Because they went and put Ray and Dom on Raw, so.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had the two pre-tape interview segments. Well, not pre-tape. They were segments with Cole being with Roman and Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other real thing of note was Charlotte retaining her women's title over Naomi. Sonia jumps Naomi after the match. Then Rhonda comes out, clears the ring. And that sets up Rhonda and
match,
Naomi
baby.
against Charlotte and Sonia at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, SmackDown was pretty lackluster, and they had a segment with Zayn and Shinsuke, which was to help set up, I believe, their match this Friday, right? This Friday
already happened. Yep.
Match. Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Right.
New champ.
I mean, seriously, you fuck with me.
No, the match already happened, dude. It's already in the can. They already announced it. Even WWE announced it on their site.
That Sami won?
Yeah.
Oh,
they put it on their social media. They didn't even wait because they were like, internet's going to internet. So let's just tell everyone it happened.
Why do I have a sick feeling they're going to do like some stupid Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville match at WrestleMania?
They're not. Knoxville only signed on to do the Rumble. He said he would do some. He did some pre-tapes during that weekend of what they're airing now, but there's not going to be a Knoxville match at
Thank God. Thank the fucking God. I want this shit to be over with. I can't stand it. It's going on 3 weeks too long.
Yeah. I just want to mention, because everyone like shit on Nakamura. Oh, not shit on Nakamura, but they're like, Nakamura had a combined title reign with blah, 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 and he only defended the title on TV 4 times in that amount of time.
He was hurt.
Not only that, people seem to fucking forget that house shows exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that belt was designed for the house shows because Roman didn't work house shows. Like, I mean, he would on occasion, but Roman, for the most part, didn't work house shows. So that the Intercontinental title was the house show title. Mm-hmm. So that happened there. But not only that, but I sat there, I'm like, y'all motherfuckers didn't complain when Brock was champion for over a fucking year and only defended it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck off.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. I don't think there's anything else on SmackDown. Madcap Moss trying to get out of his chamber match because of his eyesight. That was stupid. I think that's really it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So let me get to Raw last night in Indianapolis.
I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep during part of it and I didn't go back and watch what happened.
So it starts with
I missed the entire women's gauntlet match.
Okay, we'll get to that. Opens the show with Lashley. Basically, all the chamber participants having a talking moment in the ring. Lesnar F5's theory to end the segment. Mm-hmm. Then we get to what are we doing with AJ? Like, I know what they're doing with AJ Styles. This is a rhetorical question, but what are they doing with AJ Styles?
And I will say this. I'm agreeing with you. I am not a fan of either man who was in that U.S. title match, but having AJ do the job clean before he's about to go into a title match in a fucking chamber makes him
let alone do it clean in 5 minutes.
Right. Makes him look like shit.
This is the same guy that's begging to have Edge at Mania, and you do this shit with him.
Yep.
Like,
I mean, I don't care that, Priest won with a quick sunset flip, whatever. I don't give a fuck if it's eking out a win. You're still going over clean on a guy that's in the fucking heavyweight title match in 4 days.
Like, it made no sense to me to go that route.
Didn't. The match didn't need to happen. Like, they should have held that match off for after the chamber.
A transition match towards Mania. Yeah, and I was at a loss for words when I saw that match happen. Like, it was one of those things where I accidentally caught myself fast forward because I had a DVR at the start because I had other shit going on last night, so I'm going through my DVR. It was one of those things where I accidentally didn't stop the DVR early enough for the start of the match. And by the time I was pausing, it's like, oh my God, they're going home. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I had to go back and make sure the timing was right. I'm like, that was 4 or 5 minutes. What the fuck?
Yep.
Anyways, the other high point of the night, and we'll get back and discuss the filler, but the other high point obviously was the main event. Seth being Orton by pinfall.
After all the fuckery with the Alpha Academy.
Right. Fuckery with the Alpha Academy and a bunch of shit. And then, so aside from that, what else do we have? We had
Women's Gauntlet
Street
match.
Profits. Right, we'll get to that. The Profits beat Rude and Ziggler in a random tag match where Ciampa was on commentary, and had a little interaction with Ziggler. I love how, by the way, they reunited the Hurt Business, the tag team, but they're not doing anything with Lashley and MVP. It's just the Hurt Business and Benjamin and Cedric Alexander.
Yep. You took two guys who were singles champions and had them fucking look like
squashed
shit.
in 3 minutes by Giant Gonzalez 2.0. Yeah. So Omos beats them in a handicap match. Lita and Beck, the contract signing was.
That's when I started nodding off. So
I got what they were trying to pull off through the verbiage being used. What I wasn't getting was the physical demeanor of Becky with the verbiage she was using.
Yeah.
Like they're making, like, there's a way to have a champion come off as being hesitant on what they have to do in their upcoming title match.
Yeah.
Like one of those things where you would kind of say, I don't want to have to put you down, but you're putting me in a situation where I have no choice but to put you down.
Right.
But they went the, for lack of a better phrase, the emotionally damaged end of the spectrum, where you had Becky come out looking a little disheveled and depressed and sad, and left disheveled, depressed, and sad. With obviously Lita, you're trying to protect her physically, so no physical interaction after the contract signing, but it was a very random, and I don't know, it the whole thing felt off.
I feel like maybe they're realizing that people are going to cheer for Becky no matter what. And this will be the match where Becky will win, and then afterwards Lita will extend her hand and we get the feel good moment and Becky flips back face before me. Yeah.
And then have Rousey be heel, even though they've been trying to have Rousey act face the whole time.
Well, we don't know where Rousey's landing yet. And maybe they're realizing that Rousey remember we had the debacle last week where they had to tell her to be all smiles and everything, and it came across fake as fuck.
And we know Ronda's facing Charlotte, so she's already in her face dynamic with Charlotte. Huh?
Not until the contract signed.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Don't start that shit. But then, no, because that still doesn't make sense. Because then you're wasting the chamber match, the women's chamber match, in that regard.
They're saying whoever wins that faces the Raw Women's Champion
at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a fucking 4-way to unify the belts. You're not doing that.
Logically, you wouldn't, but
you're not.
We don't have much stock in logic nowadays.
You have two nights of WrestleMania. You're not going to fucking unify the women's belts. There's no need to do that. There's no need to unify the women's belts. If you're going to unify or scrap a title, scrap the fucking women's tag titles. I'm all for equality. I love it. And this isn't me trying to be an asshole towards the women, but
they just have no women's tag division.
Yeah, you have no women's tag division. You're just throwing shit together at random. Like, it's not necessary. And on top of that, scrap the 24/7 title because it's fucking stupid. Yeah. Like, that's not needed either. Like, fuck all. Like, anyways. Yeah, just no. Bianca wins the Gauntlet match because she was the last entrant, and Rhea carried the whole match until at that point. Oh, you didn't see the match, so let me break it down for you. So Rhea started the match with Nikki. She beat Nikki. She beat Liv Morgan. She beat Doudrop, and then Bianca was the last entrant. Bianca went over on Rhea. So Rhea was the Iron Woman, and Bianca picked up the scraps.
Yay.
So that means Bianca gets to enter last in the chamber match. That's what that was all about.
Yeah. And we finally found out our 6th entrant for the women's chamber,
which we'll get to in a second. So did you see any of the shit with Reggie and Dana Brooke at the restaurant and all that?
Yeah, we kind of got a Reggie heel turn.
Yeah. So R-Truth, Tamina, and Tozawa try to ambush Dana Brooke. Reggie makes the save.
Here's my issue. You could tell those things were pre-taped way early in the day because when they did the runaway at the end, it was still sunlight outside.
Sunlight out, yeah.
And the restaurant was closed.
Right. Dana Brooke then basically continued friend zoning Reggie, and Reggie said basically "fuck you" and won the title in the middle of the restaurant. Because
reasons.
24/7.
Yeah.
Alpha Academy beats the Mysterios by pinfall in a non-title match. Then the Miz and Maurice, who were on commentary, attacked the Mysterios to basically set up Rey Mysterio versus the Miz at Elimination Chamber. Because reasons.
Did they officially announce that match?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they did. There's even a graphic for it and everything.
Yay.
And then the final point from Raw that I have, that they did another series of a couple vignettes over the course of Raw, where the therapist presents Alexa Bliss with the torn up remains of Lily, and then also gives her a copy of Lily.
It was one of the merch ones from the merch shop, and they put the stuffings of the original Lily in it.
Right. And then the therapist essentially clears her to return, and she's now the 6th entrant in the chamber match.
Yay! She's back before Mania. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm. So, Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Let's go through the non-title implication matches first.
Mm-hmm.
Ray versus Miz. Does anybody really care?
Not really.
This is the if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there, does it really make a sound match?
Yeah.
That's basically what that match is.
I feel like something in this should have been like, I feel like this was thrown together as because we know how Shane got the axe. I feel like this would have been like the Mysterios against Miz and Shane.
Can I tell you what I kind of hope for in this?
What?
Just because of the shit they have Miz saying to play up to this. Can I just say how much I kind of would love to have Dom just batter the shit out of Ray at the end of this match?
I wouldn't care. There's nothing you can do to make that palatable to me.
That's the only thing that would make me care at all about anything involved in this match. Is if they have Dom pop Ray after the match.
The thing is, they're not going to have Dom do a heel turn in Saudi Arabia.
Ray
is too loved.
In Saudi Arabia? Money marks. Anyways. Non-title implications. What else do we have? We have the women's tag match of Ronda and Naomi against Charlotte and Sonia. The reason I say that's non-title implications is because, well, it has nothing to do with what's already been set up with Ronda and Charlotte, so fuck all, basically. That's more about Sonia and Naomi than it is about Charlotte and Ronda, really, aside from the fact they want to get Ronda reps before Mania. That's essentially what that is. The other non-title implication match, Drew versus Madcap Moss, which has now been made a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yay.
Because we got to have a match like that. Because it's not like we don't have 2 chamber matches already.
I just want to see that end up like Ross running outside in the fucking arena, like he's in the arena and finds the door and runs outside, and he's like, "It's so hot out here," and then fucking Drew pins him. Right there.
It's so hot out here. Never mind. It's so stupid. I don't.
It is, and that's why.
All right. SmackDown tag titles. The Usos defending against the Viking Raiders. We
The
know how
Usos
that's
could
gonna
drop
go.
the belts here.
Really? You think so?
Saudi Prince is booking, baby.
Wait. Time out. Hang on.
I'm not saying they don't get him back like a week later, but
Care to explain? I don't care about Eric and Ivar having worked in Japan. We're not like
that's what it is.
really.
Mm-hmm. And because the Saudi Prince may feel bad because they got their first clean loss in Saudi against Gallows and Anderson.
Don't get me wrong. We love Eric. Like
Ivar.
Whichever one it is. Fuck him.
I've never met Carl Rowe. I'm sure he's a lovely individual, but I've known Handsome Johnny for a very long time.
I don't know. The two other women's matches, we already mentioned Becky and Lita for the Raw Women's title. And then also the chamber match to determine who gets the Raw Women's title match at Mania. Liv, Rhea, Bianca, Doudrop, Nikki, Ash, and Alexa. So hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4 face. Well, we don't really know what Alexa is, honestly. So 3 faces, 2 heels, and a question mark.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't go the route of flipping Becky babyface here, this could possibly be the Bianca finally gets her shot back at Becky on the big stage.
Right.
I
think your two most viable options would be Alexa or Bianca. So as much as I love to see Rhea get a shot, like
right, but Rhea's gotten title matches, and Rhea's been in women's title matches at Mania the past 2 years.
Right.
So it feels like this year she'll be like she'll win the women's battle royal, and they'll be like, here, have a cookie.
Right. Essentially. Then on the men's side, there's the Universal title match, Roman and Goldberg. Yeah, I know.
I'm worried.
There's no way. Okay. No. I don't give a fuck who's booking. I don't care if it's Tony Khan booking. You're not going to have Eric and Ivar go over on the Usos and Goldberg go over on Roman Reigns. No. Fuck no. No. I don't want Lesnar Goldberg. No.
I don't either.
No.
That's the last thing I fucking want, dude.
No.
You're acting like I want this. I don't want it. I don't want this.
No.
And it's exactly why they would do it, because I don't want it. And my house is plugged.
It would be in their best interest to avoid a riot at Columbia, South Carolina Raw Monday night if they don't have Roman lose. Or, well, they pre-tape this week's SmackDown. So where's next week's SmackDown? Where's SmackDown next Friday? Let me find this. Sure. Hold on. Please. If they want to avoid a riot, I gotta look up the SmackDown town for next week. I want all dates. I don't give a shit.
Hope they're not in Atlanta.
Hershey, Pennsylvania. The Giant Center. Home of the Hershey Bears of the AHL. Not that you care, but I don't know. Hey, as someone who had the Hartford Whalers nearby for a while, I figured you might appreciate the hockey reference.
I've been to Wolfpack games.
Yeah, see, there you go. Are they still a Rangers affiliate, by the way?
I don't know.
Last time I knew they were a Rangers affiliate. Anyways, if they want to avoid a riot in Hershey, Pennsylvania from all the crazy fucks that live in Philly and New York City, they better not fucking put that shit on Goldberg. They better have enough common sense to say, look, Eric and Ivar, okay, we'll give you that. We're not giving you fucking Goldberg. God. They're doing a house show at the Garden the first Saturday of March. I'm just happen to be looking at the...
All they seem to do is house shows at the Garden now.
Very odd. Very, very odd.
I feel like that's kind of like that's been a smite ever since the Garden hosted the ROH New Japan
Ring of Honor show. Yeah.
Yeah, like since then they're like, we're only going to do the Garden for house shows.
They don't even have
because it brings in a lower gate.
See, this is interesting now. Now, this is interesting because I'm looking at the schedule right on WWE.com. They don't even have a SmackDown listed for the night before night one of WrestleMania. They're going right from Raw Monday in Pittsburgh to WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, they're going to pre-tape.
And then Raw the night after. Oh, right. Yeah,
that's what they did last year. Remember?
Yeah.
And they had the Andre Memorial Battle Royal on the pre-tape SmackDown.
Yeah. They'll pre-tape at Barclays the week before. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I forgot they're doing that shit now. Them, they're fucking pre-tapes. Anyways, the last men's match, the last match that we haven't mentioned, the Elimination Chamber for the WWE title. This is where I think you're also scared is Bobby, Brock, Seth, Theory, Riddle, and Styles. Now, what? Now, the obvious scare would be Brock.
Yes.
But you're mentioning... Because you mentioned Japan before. It's the only reason I'm hesitating on the scare here.
What, AJ?
Oh, trust me, I don't believe so either. But you mentioned Japan for Eric and Ivar. What's wrong with the Japan logic for AJ potentially? Or at
because
least
AJ's already gotten that rub in Saudi Arabia.
Fair.
This is so I'm worried about Brock going over in the chamber. I think the only other solution that would work in this to build towards Mania would be somehow Brock gets eliminated early by having like Lashley and another person gang up on him. Because obviously if Brock gets pinned, at least have Austin Theory get eliminated, them open the cage door and out comes Roman and fucking starts beating the fuck out of Brock.
Yeah, like that's kind of my logic with Brock is they could go back to not the drawing board. They can go back to the formula they used when Brock was in the 2020 Rumble? Which Rumble was it where he walked in as champion and got knocked out by Ricochet and Drew? Was that 20 or 21?
2020.
Was it 2020? Right, because it was a live crowd.
COVID fit.
Right, because it was in Houston, right. They can go back to that formula if they want. Absolutely.
They could, but then that doesn't give anyone else to be built for Mania. I think what they should do, if they do that to Brock, they do it early. Or not early, but not as the end point.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
What I think they should do for an end point is have Lashley and Riddle go the fucking distance and do what they did with Bryan and Santino that time and really fucking make it look like Riddle's just about there. Let Bobby win, set up Bobby and Riddle at Mania. And that will be the telltale sign as to whether Riddle was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to go over in the Rumble.
It's also the same thing to do with Bryan and Kofi.
Oh, yeah, they do it with Bryan Kofi, too. I forgot about that. Because Kofi's forgettable.
Because Kofi...
That was when Kofi Mania became a thing. Ugh. It was never a thing.
Oh, that was a real dick thing. Okay. Anyways, wow. Okay.
Kofi Mania was never a thing. Kofi Mania was Vince trolling the internet. Saying, I can push anyone the fuck I want and y'all will eat it up.
Anyways, sure. I know where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to here. I'm gonna go to WrestleMania update.
Okay.
Have you heard the whisper in the wind? That's not a Jeff Hardy reach. Sorry. I didn't even think of that when I said it. No, this is not a Jeff Hardy related topic. Have you heard the whispers about Plan B for Mania? Obviously, we know the talk was Shane and Seth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to know the Plan B that is being discussed? Although it couldn't have been a Plan B because it sounds like they were kind of steering this direction anyways to begin with. Did you hear who got sent a ring back in August?
No. Oh, Austin?
Mm-hmm.
There's rumor as to they really want to give Austin a payday to Austin and Owens. Because that's why they got Owens talking shit about Texas now.
And you have the whole stunner gimmick thing,
right?
Too.
They're gonna have to give Austin a whole lot of fucking money because Austin has said for a long time, "I ain't getting back in that fucking ring."
Here's the thing that scares me about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that feels like to me?
What?
There is a match that broke my heart to watch. Well, two matches really. That broke my heart to watch. Because I wanted to remember this guy for what he did. And then they brought him back for a few paydays. And made me realize that he was literally just doing that for the money because he had no business being back in a ring again. Would you like to guess who that is? No. I told you this is my favorite wrestler of all time before.
Bret Hart?
Yes.
That was a big disappointment.
He came back.
Oh, God, that match is terrible.
He faces Vince at Mania, which I believe was the same one with Shawn's retirement, I think. Wasn't that the same one in Arizona?
It was 2010.
Phoenix? I think that was the same one in Phoenix where Shawn retired. I could be wrong, but if I remember the setting.
I just remember it was 2010.
Okay. So they had that. They had him, I believe, beating The Miz for the U.S. title.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. That was a thing. Now, I'm not saying that what they do with Steve, where he does more than one match and all that. But, like, that fucked me up for a little while because I didn't want to see Bret like that.
Yep.
You're potentially setting up a lot of Attitude Era fans for that same kind of disappointment if you go that route.
Yep.
Like 5 years ago, when they had him and Mick and Shawn do that thing with League of Nations, that should have been enough.
Yeah.
That's when you should have said, all right, cut end scene. That's your final moment. Because you had what he did with League of Nations in that moment, and you had him stuttering Woods and Woods selling like a motherfucker for the stunner. Okay? Now you're setting yourself up for disappointing a lot of people.
Yep.
And if you pull the trigger on this, you better hope and pray to God Steve can go more than 3 minutes and not look like Bret Hart 2.0.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about Steve's knees. We're talking about Steve's neck.
Yeah.
Basically everything from the neck to the knees on Steve, really.
Right. And, like, granted, Austin has stayed in good shape in the time he's been away. Like he stays active and everything,
which is
it's
great.
Still,
but cardio shape is different from ring shape.
Exactly.
And muscles are different than bone.
Like, I know.
Oh man, this just stinks. This really fucking stinks.
Yep. But they're in Texas.
Oh, I okay. You know what you could do?
Booker T.
True. Didn't think of that. True. You've already fucked up his retirement once. You could just go back to the well and have HBK do one more match. You already fucked that up. Like, fuck
he'd have to shave his head again because he looks like shit right now.
I'm just saying, like, you already fucked up his retirement once that he said he was never coming out of. Fuck it, right?
Yep.
Hold on. I'm trying to find. Yeah, so he comes back late 09. WrestleMania 26. Yeah, 20. Yeah, that was the Phoenix one. That's exactly the one I was thinking of.
2010.
Because that was Taker HBK 2. And that was
the last WrestleMania I watched with Mike Milano before he died. That's how I remember it.
Sorry. Yeah, and that's right. That's when we're Swagger won Money in the Bank. That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yep. Wearing the Kurt Angle gear.
Yes.
Swagger won Money in the Bank and Cesaro won the fucking Andre Battle Royal.
No, Cesaro won the battle. No, Cesaro I don't think was even on the. I don't think he was even on the card. Yeah, Cesaro wasn't even there yet, dude.
Oh, they start. No, that's right. They didn't do the Andre Battle Royals a couple of years later.
Yeah, Andre Battle Royal started in. Didn't that start in New Orleans? WrestleMania 30.
Yes, WrestleMania 30. My bad.
That was one with Cena and Batista too for the WWE title, where Cena beat Batista.
Yes.
By DQ. So he had the Mania match, and then that was also the same weekend they inducted Stu into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Hart Dynasty won the tag titles from Big Show and The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brett beat The Miz in Toronto. That's what it was, in Toronto on Raw for the U.S. title. And then he vacated the title the next week because he got named the new general manager of Raw. Because why? I don't know.
Reasons.
I forgot about the GM thing. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Anyways.
Speaking of the Hall of Fame, looks like we got our next Hall of Fame inductees that got leaked this week.
Oh, right.
This one you really can't debate with, and you could see going in.
Please hold. I need to rewind. Where, because I know you sent me. Who was that sign? Don't tell me. Hang on. By the way, I love WWE saying fuck Super Bowl commercials this year, by the way.
I have something on that.
Go ahead. Well, they were technically WrestleMania was part of all the Peacock commercials that were run.
Yeah, Peacock paid for those. Vince didn't pay a dime for those.
Yeah, well, it wasn't doing just WWE promoting, so of course they would be paying for that.
Well, I mean, there was one commercial that was just for WrestleMania, played during the first quarter.
Oh, right, because they did all the words and
and then all the stupid AEW marks are like, they said the word dynamite. Shut the fuck up.
Fuckers, they were using the clip of McAfee reading from the dictionary. Suck a dick.
Exactly. But no, they said dynamite. They know the AEW is good to grab it. Tony Khan is the newest member of the House of Black.
Oh, my keyboard. Anyways,
more hat packets.
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
Oh yeah, Samu
Yeah.
got signed to a Legends deal, so we're looking at the Head Shrinkers probably going in this year.
Yeah.
And then what was it? There was one more. I remember you telling me about. Hang on.
No, that was a week before, and we covered that.
Oh, right.
You got all mad.
Right. Yeah. Still don't agree with
You
it.
got all sorts of mad.
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of it, but love the guy. Love the one show I worked with him, but I don't think so. Go hit yourself in the head with a clock somewhere else. Yeah, so Head Shrinkers, yeah. And it would be really cool for appearances' sake. Having that whole lineage on stage at one point.
I agree. But at least with this, you could have Rikishi, Samu, and Alpha all there on stage together. And that would be a nice moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which, side note, I just thought of something.
Go ahead.
That kind of irks me. They did the whole, they did it last week. They did it this week. Like the past few weeks, because it's Black History Month, they do the whole package on Rocky Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. I love Rocky Johnson. I love
Voiced
everything
by
he did
Dwayne.
about it. Voiced by Dwayne. Every Black History Month, you fucking do this. Meanwhile, Tony Atlas is sitting at home in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could have him there.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, there was another guy that was half of the first African-American tag team champions in the history of the company that's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck? Throw Tony a bone.
I'll give you
Or
the
a
answer.
shoe.
I'll give you the answer. You stole my thunder, asshole.
Sorry.
I was going to say, they don't want him harassing half the women's roster for walking all over him. Literally and
He
figuratively.
doesn't. He harasses more the men's roster about that than he does the women.
Oh, man, come on. Jesus Christ.
He treats the women with ultimate respect. I have seen it. I have seen him approach Len Oddity's wife and go, baby, you so beautiful. You make me wish I was a man.
Well. Wait, what?
Exact words.
Oh, Tony. Oh, God. The sad part is, I can totally envision him saying that. That's the
second
sad part.
best thing I've ever seen him say in my presence.
Oh, God. I don't want to know the
wish
first
I
one.
was a man. Oh, the first one was when he called Jimmy Jack Cash Samoa Joe.
Oh, God almighty.
That was wonderful.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Eddie Hooser. Yeah, okay. I'm done with that. All right, real quick. Let's now get into outside WWE stuff. First off, Impact. They have No Surrender coming up. We're not even going to bother talking about the TV last week because their TV fucking sucks.
Hey, look
here's
at it.
the
They're having a
card.
pay-per-view the same day as WWE, but you can watch both of them.
Yeah, great.
Look at that.
Fucking outstanding.
Look at
Yeah.
WWE being nice.
Well, I mean, they can't control the time zone they're in.
No, but still, like, if you notice, like, usually when there's a Saudi show, it usually starts around, like, 2 or 3, not around noon.
The last one, I think, started around noon, too, didn't it?
Did it?
I think so.
I just remember us going live, and it was around 5 o'clock.
Yeah, but the show had ended by then. Maybe it started at 1. Maybe the pre-show was at noon and it started at 1.
Maybe. Yeah.
That might have been what it was.
But they were like, I remember like the first couple, like I remember them ending around like 5 or 6. So
Oh yeah. All right. So the card for No Surrender as of now, Jonah versus Black Taurus, because great. Jordan Grace gets her rematch against Cardona for the digital media title. Eric Young 1-on-1 against Jay White.
Look at Jay White getting paydays all over the place.
Yeah, because fuck all. GOD challenging the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag titles.
These are my fingers crossed, because if they win, buying tickets to Poughkeepsie, baby.
Yeah, good luck with that. Honor No More in a 10-man tag against Team Impact.
Eddie
Honor
Edwards
No
does the heel
More.
turn.
Honor No More consisting of Bennett, Taven, Vincent, PCO, and Kenny King. Team Impact consisting of Eddie, Edwards, Rich Swann, Sabin, Rhino, and now Steve Macklin because Josh Alexander had his contract expire with Impact and his work visa expires, so he can't get into the country right now.
Yep.
Which is not what they're telling you. They're telling you Scott D'Amore just sent Alexander home when really Alexander's stuck in Canada. Oh, Canada.
You know what's really funny? Remember 2 weeks ago when Brandy Rose said the only reason we signed Ethan Page was to get to Josh Alexander? Gee, Josh Alexander has an open contract right now. Guess who ain't showed up on Dynamite? Way to go, guys.
Mickie James is going to defend her Knockouts World title against Tasha Steelz, cashing in her Ultimate X title shot.
Yay.
And then the main event, I'm sure, going to be a barn burner. W. Morrissey challenging against Moose for the Impact World title.
That's going to be the worst Haas fight in history.
Fuck the world.
Second worst Haas fight in history because we have Jonah and Torus on the same show.
Yeah, basically. What else here? Oh, New Japan, because fuck all. There's your title. Who books this shit?
Some Japanese guy.
I'll give you the answer. The answer is the fans, because the fans are a bunch of assholes. So, this is not including our friends Carol and everyone else. This is not including you guys. So, New Japan allowed a poll to determine the stipulation for the King of Pro Wrestling thing that Suzuki holds right now.
Yeah, because it's the gimmick title, right?
He's taking on Toru Yano. The potential stipulations that could have been voted on. The suggestion for Suzuki was a handcuff death match. The suggestion by Toru, a dog cage match. Would you like to guess what fucking won?
Dog cage.
Yeah. Do you want to know the concept for the match?
It's a steel cage, but only at waist level.
Wrong, motherfucker. It's a no DQ match. The only way to win is to put somebody in a dog cage and lock the door.
You're fucking ribbing me.
I'm not ribbing you. It's right on the fucking New Japan website.
That's fucking terrible.
Yep, and it's happening in Sapporo on the 20th of February. So it's
I'm going to have
this
to drink
Sunday.
Sapporo to watch that. Jesus.
Who books this shit?
The fans. You already said it.
Japanese are fucking weird. Can I just say that much?
Well, yeah, dude. They all got their boba tea and their body pillows, and they wear feety pajamas, don't you know?
Okay, Wendy.
When they're not schoolgirls.
Thanks, Wendy Chu.
That's my Bruce Pritchard impression.
Although boba tea does sound delicious right now, not gonna lie. I haven't had that in a while. Anyways, anything else in my notes? Oh, a few things. I forgot to mention this about Impact. They're doing a gut check challenge open tryout again.
Oh boy.
Did you see where it's happening though?
New York?
Next month at the Arnold Classic.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know why?
I see how many bodybuilders can take bumps.
Who's Arnold Schwarzenegger good friends with?
The Rock?
No.
I don't know. Schwarzenegger's friends with a lot of people.
Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And Arnold's partially responsible for Bruno ever going in the Hall of Fame.
I remember.
It's kind of interesting. Just saying.
Yeah.
And didn't Hunter get some award from Arnold a few years ago? Like some international Hall of Fame award?
I think so.
Yeah. So interesting is a proper word for that. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor announced another member of their Hall of Fame class.
I called it.
Samoa Joe.
You just Samoan Joe.
That includes him. That puts him with Danielson and the Briscoes. And again, I believe that's supposed to happen around the time of Supercard of Honor.
Yeah.
Mania weekend. What else? No other matches announced yet, which obviously they have like 6 weeks, so it's what it is. But no word yet about there being any other matches yet.
Yeah. Well, you got Gresham defending the ROH title all over the fucking place.
Correct.
I'm sure that's going to be the marquee match is Gresham versus Bandito for the unified title.
Oh, yeah, that's already been announced.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
That's the only match that's been announced. Oh, I know what I didn't mention. Speaking of Ring of Honor, did you see who WWE is signing to the PC?
No.
Give you a hint. Her name rhymes with PC.
Oh, Roxy. I saw that.
Yes.
That's probably why they had her drop the fucking Ring of Honor women's title to fucking Deonna Purrazzo.
Probably. Because they had pictures of her doing a PC tryout. So
here's what I have to say. All the fucking indie guys that got all fucking disheveled when WWE said, we're only going to sign homegrown talent from now on. And I said, what, give it 6 months? What's it been? 6 months? Did I not fucking say?
Yeah.
Because they're realizing this fucking program, the shit that they have doing with the NIT, whatever fucking program they're doing is not going to hash out the way they want to. And so we're going to start looking at indie people again. So I hope this has put a fire under indie people's asses to get out there and work in front of as many crowds as possible to hone their fucking skill to be able to get looked at when they start offering fucking PC training fucking camps again. Mm-hmm. Anybody that has rested on their laurels and said, well, I'm only going to be big in fucking Maine, it's your own fucking fault.
Agreed. There is a topic I want to get. What?
That reminds me of something I saw over the weekend that really pissed me off.
You can go ahead and bring it up if you want.
Certain company that I will not name held a big Jim Anderson Memorial Battle Royal.
I saw that.
Yeah. Too bad maybe 1 out of the 20 fucking people in that Battle Royal ever shared the same airspace as Jim. That kind of pissed me the fuck off.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That pissed me off almost the same as a certain company doing an Eric Newton Memorial Battle Royal. That wasn't like just because it was their first show.
I vaguely remember that. I don't remember the company. No need to name it.
They ran their first show a month before we ran our first show.
Let's talk about that off the air because I don't remember it off the top of my head. So 2 things I want to get into before we close shit out. 1, we'll get into your trip down memory lane.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's what we're going to close with. But before we get to that, I need to bring something up. Mm-hmm. Over the weekend, Warrior Wrestling had a show. And one of the headline matches was Thunder Rosa against the artist formerly known as Ember Moon. I think her name is Athena.
Yeah.
It's just Athena, right?
Yeah.
There's no last name? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a match, and apparently there were some fans in the crowd that were making, let's just say, not well-appreciated comments over the course of the show, notably of sexist and racial nature.
Wonderful.
Including, during the Thunder Rosa Athena match, somebody chanting for Thunder Rosa to, quote-unquote, rip her weave out.
Jesus.
Yeah. There is that video that has been around Twitter, different clips of Thunder Rosa berating said fan after the match on the mic.
Good.
So, as a booker, I want to get your opinion. Obviously, this is a little bit on the extreme side, but just in general, your opinion about fan behavior at shows, because I know from experience that we, as in DPW, we placate to, how should I put this?
A more adult-oriented fan base?
Yes, thank you. That is the very, very PG way of putting it. Yes, a more adult-oriented fan base than most indie companies in our area. So I'd like to get your thoughts on fan behavior, spectator policy kind of stuff regarding indie shows, and obviously saying things of the nature that I just referred to is too far. To you, is there a line? Is it a gray area? Like, is it a difference company to company or promoter to promoter where that line is? How do you feel about this?
It definitely varies company to company. There's some promoters that'll be like, whatever, I don't care. I'm sitting back here. I just wanted to book a show. There's a reason we have disclaimers on the back of our tickets when we sell them and when we hand them out to the crowd, is that, certain things about liabilities and certain things about fan behavior. Because obviously, like us to an extent, but even ISW, like, yeah, we're catering to an adult-oriented audience. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean you can be a piece of shit. I remember ISW had an issue back one of the Danbury shows, probably the last show they ran in Danbury before the Heirloom Arts Theater got sold. They were doing a Lego death match on the show, and they do fans bring the Legos, and someone handed in a garbage bag full of Legos that had broken glass and thumbtacks mixed in with it. And it wasn't found out until it got poured out. And that became a major issue. And they actually had to shy away from part of the match, and like the ref swept the shit out of the ring. And then there was something said on the microphone about fan behavior regarding that. I most definitely see a line, and it's, sometimes people can say some things, and you can never tell a fan that they're not allowed to say it. But if a fan is getting extremely out of fucking line, especially racism and homophobia are the big no-nos. This isn't the 80s. That shit doesn't go over anymore. You want to make fun of a wrestler, that's fine. Do not bring their race or their sexual orientation into it. And if you do, that's why companies hire security, and that's why the ring announcer and the commentators pay attention to sometimes what the crowd is saying. And then word gets back to the back, and we say, you tell him if he does it again, they're ejected, because there's no call for that shit. We had an issue. I think it might have been the same. Yes, it was the same show as Tremont Incredible, because we had Tremont on the show. We drew a lot of Beyond fans, and there were some guys that were really drunk who got out of line. And there was also there was a guy who had his kid there, and the kid started during Brian Fury and Tomahawk started fucking kicking and chopping on fucking Brian Fury.
Yep.
And we almost ejected them until we found out that it was Tomahawk said the kid could, and we clarified that, because you don't put your hand, you don't put your hands on fucking workers.
Right.
If one of them calls for it, be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But otherwise you don't, because number one, there's insurance issues with that. But number two, it's just disrespectful. So yeah, like I said, it depends on the level of promoter and how much the promoter actually is a promoter, and how much they're a guy putting on a show because they want to see matches that they think are going to be amazing. Because unfortunately, that's what a lot of indies are nowadays.
So I'm not saying we have to do this, but I'm going to put this out there and see how you feel about it as a promoter and owner.
Mm-hmm.
So, quick sidebar. For those who don't know, I do a lot of PA announcing for sports events on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, basketball, football, bunch of shit. And anything that is sponsored, whether it be anything that is a school-sponsored event, be it high school or college, the one thing that is a mandatory read pre-game, whether it be during a pre-game speech or in between the starting lineups and the opening play of whatever contest is happening. There is mandatory that a sportsmanship paragraph be read, essentially. The gist of it being, this is me off going to the top of my head. I'll just insert random shit based off of where I announce. Russell Sage College, the NCAA, and the Empire Rate Conference promote good sportsmanship from student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We ask you to support our mission in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team reps will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the gymnasium. Just in summation, that's usually what's said. Do you think, and obviously this varies company to company and how PG and not PG your brand is. Do you think there are some promoters or companies that would benefit from something like that being said before a show starts?
Absolutely. And that's why, like usually we sometimes it becomes an afterthought why we haven't done it, which is why we print it on the tickets. But I know that we are one of the very few that actually prints something like that on the tickets. Right. I think it's absolutely. I think it should be done. I honestly remember. I won't mention the worker's name, but this particular worker's father would be at shows, drunk and or coked out of his mind, and would already be causing a fucking scene while Joanna Robinson would be singing the national anthem. And Matt James would have to get on the microphone and basically have to read off and then basically we'd have to be like, dude, your dad's out of control. He needs to be fucking babysat.
Jesus. Yeah. I don't know.
Whether it happened or not is a different story.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just something that I thought I'd bring up just because it's something that, I don't know, just kind of sucks that has to be the case, I guess. But all gotta live and learn, I suppose. So, gonna wrap the show now with the trip down memory lane that you wanted to go on, because you mentioned to me on Friday, I believe it was, how there was a Facebook memory that, for lack of a better phrase, I guess, triggered you into wanting to tell a story. So it's story time with JJ.
So I actually have right there. It was 2 words, too soon, with hashtag NXT takeover arrival.
All right. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up NXT Takeover Arrival. If I remember correctly, was that? Yeah, I'm about to say that was the Neville Bo Dallas ladder match. Show.
Nope.
No. It's a different NXT Arrival.
Yeah. Because they did it 2 years in a row. This was 7 years ago, so it was 2015.
Okay, so this is the one with Sami Zayn KO for the title.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. Do you want to set the scene for this?
So setting the scene, Kevin Owens had arrived at the previous takeover a few months earlier, or maybe 2 months earlier.
He had a match with Juice Robinson when he was still fuck was his name there?
CJ Parker.
Thank you, CJ Parker, and then okay, go ahead.
And Parker busted his nose open doing the fucking open palm.
Yeah, like in the first 30 seconds of the goddamn match.
Yep. So in between that, what do you call it? So Owens came out as the big baby face, won that match. The end of the night, Sami Zayn wins the NXT title, and Owen turns heel on him and power bombs him on the apron.
Yeah.
After that, Owens had one match on NXT TV that ended in a schmaz and then got a title match against Sami Zayn.
Mhm.
And Owens won the title in about 10 minutes after powerbombing Sami Zayn about 5 times. And the ref stopping the fight.
Yep.
And I said too soon, because Kevin Owens had just shown up on TV and they put the title on him. And this is when, in the comments of my original post, I had someone who couldn't see the forest for the trees debating with me. I don't know how many times I got to bring up Jose Perez being a fucking idiot on this show. But it was Jose Perez. Basically, like, Steen has a huge following, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And I went, you need to realize something. And this is when NXT was pretty fresh on TV.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is the developmental fucking league. And you need to realize that the casual fan watching this has never heard of the indies. And it's 7 years later, and this is still the case. There are still casual fans that don't know what indie wrestling is. And a lot of them watch WWE. They don't know about the indies. They had never heard of Ring of Honor. They don't know, like, yeah, they had mentioned on TV that, you know, Owens and Zayn have known each other, and they showed that they were at each other's weddings, so they've been friends. So it's like, okay, you get that little bit of backstory. You don't, you know, and that, oh, they tagged together in Canada and fucking these places. That's not enough for the new fan to go, this guy just came in and has had 2 matches and was just won their title.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, but they're building a bigger story to this. You know, wait, you'll see. This is going to draw out for the next year. Yada, yada, yada. And I said, no, you're fucking wrong. And you know what happened? Zayn got a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Match ended in a schmoz, and out comes Samoa Joe. And Zayn and KO never touched each other again in NXT.
I do remember that, yes.
But they were building to a bigger program. Who was right and who was wrong? Yes, I'm fucking gloating. Because I sat there and said, you do not understand that there's a difference between indie wrestling and televised wrestling. And he still doesn't fucking get it to this day. That people, if they don't see it on their television, do not know what happened. This goes back to me once again saying that YouTube doesn't count for shit. If you look at companies that have if you want to talk about YouTube being a driving force in wrestling, what wrestling companies have the most YouTube views? WWE. I don't give a fuck that AEW said they just reached 1 billion views. That's over a course of 3 years and 2,900 videos. I'm sure WWE, if they actually tabulated how many views they've gotten just this calendar year from all the videos they put on their social media, it would be close to that.
Mm-hmm.
When people look up wrestling on YouTube, they're going to click on the professionally looking stuff. They're not going to click on the indie stuff that looks like it's been shot with a handy cam, that has no graphics, that has no commentary. That's why I'm always big on having commentary at shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to reiterate once again that even though it's been 7 years, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And it's the fact that because someone is indie famous does not mean they are ready for TV. And this is something I touched on earlier in both parts of this episode. They have to be and look at where they went with Owens after that. They had him not even feud with Joe for that long because Joe wasn't ready for TV. And they had Owens kind of get it, which is when they put Owens on TV against Cena. Remember, he was still NXT champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically they said, okay, this kid had pulled off a TV match with Cena. He's ready. So they had him drop the NXT title to Balor in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they knew that would spike views, having the guy who was the most over in Japan win the NXT title in Japan.
Right.
But yeah, that's basically all. It was me gloating, and and it's funny because I look back and there's comments missing because I had to keep delete comments because Jose Perez started throwing a tantrum and posting pictures of Kevin Steen like throughout the thing, and I kept deleting them, and he was like, "What?" And I was just like, "It's my fucking timeline, asshole. Like you're just pissed because I'm right, and there's people agreeing with me, and you're a 50-year-old man-child. Indies do not matter." I will sit here and tell you, like, and this is something Mike Milano used to say. And he fucking turned and he'd be like, I will admit to you one thing. Like, I may have done a bunch of shit in this business, but in the long scheme of things, I don't mean shit. And I'll tell you the same thing. I may have fucking promoted some shows. I may have managed a lot of guys. At the end of the day, I'm just one guy and I'm a guy from the indies. In the grand scheme of things, I don't mean shit. And that's a viewpoint that a lot of indie guys need to start fucking having if you ever want to succeed in this business. It's called being humble. Learn it. Try not to suck any dick on the way through the parking lot.
That's why I didn't last as long as I felt like I should have in radio, because I didn't,
Suck any dick on the way through the parking lot?
basically.
I had to throw it in. It's episode 37.
I made it through 11 years of being humble, and then finally the humility was too much for everyone to handle. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, that seems like a good way to wrap things up. By the way, real quick, gonna bring this up. Finally is being reported the official ending of 205 Live and beginning of NXT Level Up, which is a name that was trademarked recently by WWE.
Oh, they're not going with NXT Evolve. Oh, well.
It's going to be a 60-minute pre-tape show that'll be the first episode of which is being taped before they go on the air with Vengeance Day tonight.
Oh, nice.
It'll be pre-taped, it looks like, before NXT every week.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at with that. Just thought I'd.
And that's something where those new quarter people should be on and not on main NXT.
Let's hope so.
We'll see.
That being said, is there anything else you'd like to chime in with before we wrap things up?
Not really. I think we covered enough today.
Yeah. Considering we went combined about 4 hours, I think we really hit the nail on the head on everything. So thank you all for checking out episode 37 of White Heat, presented by Godzilla Media, sponsored by our friends over at Mohawk Honda and Johnstone Supply. Again, shout out to Tom. Congrats on the baby girl you just had back on Thursday. That being said, you can catch me on Twitter at Brian Katie, him at JJ_Alexander. Any complaints about sucking dick in the parking lot, send emails to brian.katie@GodzillaMedia.com. And for JJ Alexander, I'm Brian Katie. Enjoy Vengeance Day. Enjoy Elimination Chamber. If you're a sucker, enjoy No Surrender. And we'll check you out in episode 38. Goodbye.